I grew up playing first person shooters. Games like Rainbow Six, SWAT, Fear are my childhood. I still love video games, in fact, I play them often, but I cannot put the same time and effort like before. I cannot play a game for hours daily. My work takes up 40 hours a week. Also, as an adult, your family needs time and attention. So, after all this, you don't have that much of energy left. When most of us sit down in the evening, we want fun. We do not want punishment. I believe many of you can relate to this. You love shooters, but you simply cannot grind every night to keep your aim sharp. You just want to jump in, use all the cool weapons and loadouts, and enjoy the full sandbox. You want to play without getting instantly crushed by cheaters or veterans who play 8 hours a day. Take Battlefield 1 for example. The single player campaign is incredible. The stories are emotional, cinematic, and deeply human. I cried during some of those missions. They captured the chaos and sacrifice of World War I very well. I feel this is one of the best ever campaigns in FPS history, not just Battlefield. However, the multiplayer ruined the game for me. Lobbies were full of cheaters shooting through walls. High skill players dominated every server. There were no bots to lower the difficulty or let me learn the maps. After 10 hours of work, I did not want to be target practice for snipers, so I refunded the game. 1 week after Battlefield 1 released, EA launched Titanfall 2. It was buried under Battlefield's marketing push. Most casual gamers did not even notice it on store shelves. Yet Titanfall 2 became my favorite FPS game of all time. The single player campaign is legendary. It blends fast movement, wall running, and heavy mech combat into a story that feels alive. The bond between Cooper and BT carries real emotional weight. The level design is creative and fast-paced from start to finish. While the campaign is outstanding, multiplayer gives you a completely different type of sandbox experience. Single player follows a set script and a deliberate pace. Multiplayer constantly throws pure, unpredictable chaos at you without any rhythm. You can drop into a match, build your own custom loadouts, have a ton of fun, and just stop playing whenever you want. I wanted to experience that full sandbox, so I joined the official multiplayer lobbies. That is where I ran into a massive problem. The skill ceiling was way too high for me. Titanfall 2 has some of the fastest movement mechanics in shooter history. Veteran players do not walk on the ground. They slide hop across maps at high speeds and cook grenades mid-air. Trying to learn those mechanics against players with thousands of hours was miserable. I spent more time watching kill cams than playing the game. Titanfall 1 suffered a similar fate years earlier. It was mechanically great, but it launched without a single player campaign. Without a story mode to attract casual players, the player count dropped quickly. Once the core community moved on, the game vanished. With Titanfall 2, history repeated itself. Severe DDoS attacks hit the official matchmaking servers. Lobbies froze constantly. Players disconnected every few minutes. EA and Respawn moved their team to Apex Legends, leaving Titanfall 2 broken. Then the community stepped in and built Northstar. Northstar is a custom mod framework created by players. When official servers collapsed, Northstar added a custom server browser. It let people host dedicated servers and bypass the broken matchmaking. Northstar opened the door to custom game modes and server-side mods. It proved that a dedicated community could keep a game playable after a publisher abandoned it. Through Northstar, I found a mod called Attrition Extended. Official Attrition was a match between players and weak AI grunts. Attrition Extended replaced the human opponents with smart AI bots. This changed everything for me. I could launch a full multiplayer match on my own terms. I could practice movement mechanics without pressure. I could try every Titan and loadout at my own pace. The bots removed the stress and friction. I could just enjoy the gameplay mechanics. This was the best way to play Titanfall 2. The experience came from modders instead of EA. This points to a larger problem in modern gaming. Look at Call of Duty. Games like Black Ops 2 in 2012 included full offline bot support. You can put that disc into a console today and play a complete match with custom rules. Games like Counter-Strike and Unreal Tournament had this feature decades ago. Battlefield refused to add offline bots for years. When servers go offline or get filled with cheaters, the product becomes useless. Publishers give their own games an expiration date when they rely strictly on live servers. Publishers kill games when they shut off server infrastructure. They kill games when they ignore offline options and private hosting. They treat games like temporary subscription services instead of software you own. When a publisher abandons a game, they throw away the work of the developers who built it. They also ignore the money players spent on it. Communities are the ones doing the preservation work. They build server tools and program AI bots to keep games playable. For working professionals, this distinction matters. We want games that respect our time and energy. We do not want games that demand hours of daily practice just to have fun. Bots and server tools make games accessible to everyone. Titanfall 1 showed what happens without a casual entry point. Battlefield 1 showed what happens when multiplayer lacks bot support. Titanfall 2 and the Northstar team proved that communities can save great games. Publishers need to stop killing their games. Give us bots, give us server tools. Respect the players who buy these products. Let these games stay playable long after official support ends. Modern multiplayer design is focused entirely on player retention and live service metrics. Developers build systems to keep players logging in every day. They use battle passes, daily challenges, and skill-based matchmaking to drive engagement. But this design choices alienates anyone who cannot play every night. When skill-based matchmaking pushes every match to be competitive, casual play disappears. You can no longer log on to mess around with a weak weapon. You have to use the best gear just to stay alive. That environment turns video games into work. This is why community-led projects are so essential for game preservation. Publishers view games through financial quarters and active user stats. When a game stops bringing in monthly revenue, the publisher loses interest. They turn off support staff, stop fixing bugs, and eventually shut down the login servers. Modders do not operate on quarterly earnings reports. They care about game mechanics, art, and long-term access. When the Northstar team created a server framework, they preserved a piece of interactive art. They took the power away from corporate schedules and gave it back to the players. Bot implementation is the single best way to protect an FPS game from dying. Bots do not care about server outages. Bots do not use cheats, and they do not send toxic messages in chat. They exist solely to fill out a map and let players experience the engine mechanics. Adding bots to a multiplayer game should be a mandatory design requirement for every studio. It protects the game when server populations decline. It lets new players learn the movement systems without getting punished. Most importantly, it gives the product a life after the official servers shut down. Working professionals want to log on, shoot mechs, run on walls, and log off. We do not want to study tier lists or warm up our aim for 30 minutes. We want software that works on our schedule. Titanfall 2 is a brilliant game that deserved better treatment from its publisher. The campaign proved that Respawn had some of the best designers in the industry. The movement system remains unmatched in the shooter genre. It was let down by bad release timing and a lack of long-term server support. Northstar fixed those failures. Attrition Extended gave casual players a reason to stay. Together, they showed that video games can survive corporate neglect if the community has the right tools. Stop shutting down servers. Include AI opponents in every multiplayer launch. Give players offline access to the products they bought. Let these games live.